All right. Good morning, everyone. And thank you so much for joining us all here today. Today's shiur should be Le'ilu Nishmas, our very dear friend Menachem ben Yisrael Yaakov, as well as my dear aunt Rivka Bas Gavriel Tzvi, and for Zaidi, Reb Shmuel ben Yosef Dov HaKohen, and B'schos l'Refuah Shalema Bekarov, Mishalom ben Sarah Rachel, Miriam Basara, and Yair Yeshia ben Chaya Atara. Today we are on page 106 in the Ora Vigdor for those who are following along. And today we're going to talk about the fifth quality. And again, we're reviewing all this to cement this first of 5 basic beliefs in order to have this perfect structure for Bitachon. And the fifth quality is about exclusive control. And over here today, we're going to explain why it's important for us to understand that Hashem has exclusive control. Why can't we just understand the concept of Bitachon without it? So we're going to explain today a bit why exclusive control over our entire lives is super important. And the fifth of the 7 qualities of Hashem that justify trusting in Him is that because Hashem has exclusive control over the world, none of the creatures in this world can benefit Him, and none can harm Him, nor can they do anything to anybody else, unless it is with permission of Hashem. And he uses the word creatures because, including human beings, that anything in the face of this world, whether it's an animal, a bug, a bee that might sting you, none of these living organisms has the ability to affect your day without the exclusive decree of Hashem. If Hashem wants it to happen, it's going to happen. If Hashem doesn't want it to happen, it's not going to happen. We see in Navi, we see many times. We see by Yosef HaTzadik, he was thrown into a pit. Right? There's different things. The snakes came and stuff like that, and they didn't harm him. Why? Because Hashem did not want for those creatures to harm him at that very moment. Because it has to do a lot with their merit and different things involved in it. And that's kind of what helps us have more trust. When we know we're doing the right thing, we're not, we're refraining from doing averos and we're doing all the mitzvahs that we're supposed to. We can have more confidence, understanding that those things won't harm us because there's no reason for them to harm us. At least we think so. And if they don't, we should understand that's because Hashem doesn't want those living things to harm us. Now, this quality is also essential because even though you might have someone in your life that is constantly thinking, like the first 4 qualities, right? So they're constantly thinking about you, they care about you, and they mean well. Imagine if you went to someone says, okay, I'm going to help you. Let's say they're going to help you, give you some money, right? You need some help with some money. He's going to say, come to my office. And this person is capable. And he wants to do it. He's going to write that check. He's going to give you that money. There's other forces in play over here. Understand that you need to drive from your home to this individual's office. And in the meantime, you have the whole world. A lot of things can happen. Traffic, car accidents, God forbid. Other factors, there's millions of things that can happen. Chovos HaLevavos says that there's bad people out there, right? There are people that might prevent you from getting to where you need to go in order to pick up that check, to pick up the money, right? So even though the person wants that to happen for you, and they love you, they care, all that fun stuff, but at the end of the day, it's not going to happen because there's so many other things in play that Hashem controls, that if God doesn't want you to get that dollar, He's going to just make another phenomenon happen so that you don't get to that place, to the person that really cares and wants to help you. So understand that when we talk about exclusive control, there's so much going on. There's so many variables, so many factors that are responsible for getting you what you need, that even if the person wants to give it to you or help you, whatever the case is, they can't figure that out for you unless Hashem wants that to happen. And now he says like this also, Chovos HaLevavos. Thinking about the concept that he brings an example of a slave that has multiple masters, right? Now you would say that the slave has trust in all these masters. The problem with that is that even though one master can carry out something, the problem is with his trust. The trust that he has is maybe not divided equally between all the masters, but at the end of the day, when he's presented with the 5 masters, there is one of them that he's going to trust more than the other. So there's the top master, the top dog, that he says, okay, this guy can help me with this particular aspect, or maybe even all the aspects of his life, but he's preferring this master over the others in this specific, whatever it is. But understand, there's so many other masters that rule his life, right? So it doesn't make sense logically to have a trust in multiple, call it masters, because at any moment, any one of the other ones could do something that might hurt him, because he is controlled technically by 5, 10, whatever the amount of masters that he has. And so Chovos HaLevavos is trying to explain that the concept over here is of exclusive control from Hashem. You can't have multiple masters. It's one master that really controls everything. And he brings over here in Aleinu L'Shabeach that we say every single day after Shachar, Mincha, Ma'ariv, he says over here, we say the words that true is our King, there is nothing beside him. And Chovos HaLevavos says we need to really internalize this word. True is our King, there is nothing beside him. Why? Because we need to understand that any outcome in this world has nothing to do with another individual. It only has to do with Hashem's will and decree for you. Now, he goes further to say, if a slave, talking about still the analogy of the slave, if a slave has more than one master, and if one of them is able to help him more than others, the strength of his trust in him, meaning in each one of the masters, will be in proportion to each of the master's abilities. So this one master is really good at helping him with, his health. He'll trust this master when it comes to his health. Another one has to do with his food intake. He'll trust this one for the food intake. He's kind of splitting it up all over. Even though he trusts the others, he trusts in one of them is not complete because they don't have full control over him, because each one of them has a different aspect that they're really good at, that are going to help him, and so we can't trust each one of them wholeheartedly. But if there is only one who's able to help him or harm him, he must necessarily trust in that one alone, because he does not expect help from another. Because when you put your full trust into one, call it individual, one master, then you know that nobody else can do anything, because this one master is in control of your life, whether it's for good, whether it's for bad. In that analogy, we know everything that Hashem is for good, but in this analogy of the slave, we know that this master is the only one who could give him food or withhold the food. Even if another master says, here, take some food, this top dog master might say, no, he can't have it and throw it away. So too, when a person feels that none of the creatures, meaning all these insects, animals, other than people, can help him or harm him, except with the permission of Hashem, his heart will turn away from fearing anyone else or from placing his hope in anyone else, because he invests all his fear, all his hope, only in one, and that's Hashem. He trusts in Hashem alone and nobody else. And this person knows that his mother is not able to help him, his friend is not able to help him, his wife who cares about him is not able to help him, but only Hashem is the one that does these things, even though all these people, your parents, your spouse, your children, your best friends, even though those people are willing, ready, willing, and able, and they care and they think about you all the time, but because there's so many other factors involved in life, different nuances, that those things they can't control, and therefore it only makes sense logically that only Hashem is the one that's in control of your life. It says in Tehillim, do not trust a nobleman in a man, for no help comes from him. And you should not trust a human being, even, he says over here, Rabbi Victor Miller says, don't even trust Avram Avinu. Avram Avinu, one of his biggest things was kindness and love for other people. He wanted to feed everybody, right? But you can't put your full trust in Avram Avinu. Why? Because if Hashem doesn't want something to happen, it won't happen. Even, let's say Hashem says, I don't want this person to have the benefit of your kindness. Avram Avinu would feed them, right? Maybe Hashem would make that the food that Avram Avinu gave for that individual, that maybe it would have, salmonella, whatever it is. This person is going to have an upset stomach and not feel well for a whole week after that, right? So all those different things, even though it is in your control to do an action to feed someone like Avram Avinu, but at the end of the day, if Hashem wanted a punishment for this individual and didn't want that outcome, Hashem is going to make it. B'derech hateva, this person is going to have some kind of an illness that might come out of the food or something else, that something happened. And he goes over here, Vivek Miller says something really, really interesting. He says, at the end of the day, we know this whole thing that everyone is a shaliach. So we do have to thank them. Your parents that help you, your friends, your spouse, your children, they help you. You do have to thank them. But understand what they're thanking you for. You're thanking them for, what you're thanking them for. You're thanking them for the bechira, the interest to want to carry out God's will. The will that you get from Hashem is carried out through this individual, and if it's not through this individual, it'll be through somebody else if it's decreed for you to have it. And he gives an example. If you go to a wedding, right, you sit next to your friend at a wedding and the friend pours you a glass of wine, right? And you say thank you to your friend for pouring you the glass of wine, but whose wine is it? Right? It's not this person who poured it for you. It's not your friend that's sitting next to you at the same table. It's the person who's making the simcha. He bought it. It's his wine. But what do you think? So then why are you thanking your buddy for pouring the wine? Thank the Baal Simcha. No, you thank the person for pouring a glass of wine for you. That's the same thing in life. When someone provides you with a service, a kindness, money, help, physical, with moving your couch, or mentally sits there and listens to you and helps you out, gives you ideas for business, for life, or whatever it is, they're pouring the wine that they took from the Baal Simcha. They're pouring the wine that Hashem gave them. They're giving you only what Hashem gave to them to be able to give to you. They're just the middlemen. And that's what you're thanking them for. You're thanking them for taking their hands, picking it up and giving it to you. You're thanking them for taking the time out of their day to sit down with you, to talk to you, to help you through your challenges, or whatever it is, or for the doctor for taking time out of his day in order to provide you a prescription or something, a regimen in order to get you back onto the right track of health. Those are the things that we thank them for. But it's important to understand that this fifth quality of exclusive control is super important to understand, because with that, we know that the outcome is always only up to Hashem, because we have so many different variables. You can go to rehab for getting into, God forbid, an accident, and you go to physical rehab. But at the end of the day, when you come out of rehab, you're facing the world. You're facing so many obstacles, so many challenges, bad people, or just bad climate, whatever it is. If Hashem doesn't want an outcome for you, even though you say, oh, look, I got the outcome, Hashem will figure out a way to take that away from you. I said this before. If, let's say, Hashem only decreed for you to make $500,000 this year, hopefully we should all be able to do that. But and then you made $1 million, and you say, oh, look, I made $1 million, Hashem will find a way for you to have $500,000 expense somewhere along the way. You might go, oh, it's a bad business deal, this, that. It doesn't make a difference. At the end of the day, bottom line, what do you have, $500,000 or $1 million? No, you have the $500,000 because that's what Hashem decreed for you to have. So even though you earned $1 million, but you still have, what are your cogs? What are your cost of goods, right? So Hashem will make sure that you have $500,000 expense. But whatever the case is, at the end of the day, we need to understand this is so important. This fifth quality, exclusive control. Nobody can change your outcome. Nobody can add to it. Nobody can take away from it. No one can make you healthier. No one can make you sicker. It doesn't make a difference. All these things are only up to Hashem, no matter how much willing and able your buddy, your parents, your spouse is wanting to do for you. They can't create the outcome that Hashem wanted for you. They can't change the outcome, rather, that Hashem wanted for you. Thank you, everyone, for joining us all here today, and I love you all.